Why not do a clap? Why deprive myself of the opportunity to do a clap? Also, sometimes I keep this in and I start with this in the actual video and then I roll the intro music.
Start with the pre-roll.
All right, we're back for the summer special. This is the second annual summer special. No cold open, just happy to be here. You hosted me last June. You're hosting me again in your home. How's it going?
It's great, and it's good to have you back here, and good to be in person again for our summer Upsample. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm feeling... We've had some rain. We've had some sun. We are headed towards a nice weekend here, and then soon after that's going to be the Vancouver International Jazz Festival, so that's what's on my mind.
I was explaining to someone who doesn't live here the concept of January, and we've kind of been in the middle of it. Just some heavy rainfall. I'm ready to be in an actual summer.
Well, that's what you got home to, too, because you were away. You missed the good days.
I missed the best of the springtime, and now I got back to some really bad rainy weather. I was sick for the rainy weather, so could have been worse.
Yeah. Are you going to be around for most of the Jazz Fest season, or are you heading out again?
I'm heading out in a week, and then I'll be back for most of Jazz Fest,
Okay, so I'll start thinking about what you might enjoy, because it doesn't really heat up until the 25th, the 26th, Thursday, Friday, into that weekend. It does technically start the weekend before, but then it really gets going at that point. So it sounds like you'll be here.
I'll be here and quite available. Yeah. So we'll see some shows.
Well, last year you were not here because you let me stay here.
Right, yes.
While you were gone. Yeah, which was very convenient for me. It's quite a bit closer to the action than where I live out in Coquitlam.
Yeah, I forgot that you stayed here, watched my place while I was away, which worked out very well. And what are you going to do this year? You're going to just commute?
This year, I'm going to stay at my mom's place in New West, which she is moving out of immediately thereafter at the end of the festival. So I got my last hurrah at my mom's longtime home in New West before she moves out. So
and closer to a SkyTrain than your...
Closer to the action, for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
I'm stoked for Jazz Fest season and can't wait to get out and see some shows with you.
Yeah, man. Well, in terms of you going away, is one of the places that you're going Boston, Massachusetts?
No plans to go to Boston.
Have you ever been to Boston, Massachusetts?
I've never been to Boston, no.
Okay, I have, but it was very brief, and it was actually pre my music career. So we're talking a long time ago, so I've not really been there as an adult or as a musician.
Did you ever do a Berklee audition?
I never did a Berklee audition. I never auditioned for anywhere except the school that you and I ended up going to, Capilano University. I didn't do a lot of those summer programs that our friends do. But obviously we have a lot of friends who are in Berklee land. Yep. When I say Berklee College of Music, who is your first or who are your first friends, colleagues, or musical acquaintances whom you think of?
There's a list of folks, but probably first among them is a dear friend from Smithers, Madeline Law.
Yeah.
Maddie J, as she's now known, who went to Berklee and did one of the summer camps. And through Maddie, actually, I was introduced to Julian Jaime, through Berklee summer camp was the connection there, I think. And then Gabe as well.
Yes, exactly. That would be first for me, is my former bandmate, Gabrielle Dubroy. But if you look at the broader Berklee Mount Rushmore, and you've tried to put that together, and you're like, who are the most famous people who ever went to Berklee, including people who dropped out? I think you got to have John Mayer. Yep. Is there anybody else who's obvious off the top of our heads who we would throw into that category?
It's very hard for me to remember who went. Did Charlie Puth go to...
Oh, that's a good one. I'm the producer today, so I can look this up.
There is a kind of a long list of Berklee dropouts, which was kind of for a time more prestigious than finishing Berklee.
Yes, you are correct. Charlie Puth is a graduate of Berklee. Yes, nice. Good pull. Very good pull.
I mean, Adam Neely, who we might talk about, is another very famous Berklee graduate, famous online. Okay, so we need... Obviously, I was building up to Adam Neely being the man that we could introduce today's headline story with. I don't know. You send in your fourth person then, if you're listening and you want to throw a fourth face on Berklee Mount Rushmore. We've got our friends who we'd put on there anyway, so we can leave it there. Yeah. But Adam Neely made a video about the state of affairs at Berklee, and he called the video, as of now, people change their titles on YouTube, They Teach AI Music at Music School Now.
Mm-hmm. This is a shorter video by Adam. He made an almost 2-hour video about the state of AI music maybe a few months ago. I don't know how much of that you might have watched.
I think I watched the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing too, yeah.
That one's called, I think, Suno AI and the Bad Future or something like that.
That's right. Yeah. So Suno plays into this story as well. So he's kind of following on that. But what Adam was making this video about is it's about a course. Mm-hmm. It's about the president of Berklee, and it's about where Berklee, the institution, is positioned with respect to Suno and links between the company and the university. Now, there's a few articles that have been in the news since April about the Berklee AI Suno web. Yeah. And one of them is from WBZ News Radio, and it's headlined, "Some Berklee College of Music students want school to stop AI course." And this is where they get into a course that is called Bots and Beats, AI and the Future of Songwriting. And this article quotes from presumably the Berklee page about that course and says that Berklee says the course explores, quote, how music makers can use the latest AI tools to expand their craft and how to avoid using those same tools in a way that hinders their craft, according to course description. Quote, in addition, the description continues, quote, this course will also explore the impact of AI on the music industry, both helpful and harmful, and on the future careers of music makers, as well as the role of musicians and creators in a society with abundant access to music creation.
That is wild. When I saw this video and watched this Adam Neely video, I was like, I think very surprised that Berklee was sort of promoting this or including some of this stuff in their course. Yeah, it just feels, well, out of touch for one, I think, to think that their students would be interested in this, but also kind of bleak. It's like kind of a fairly major cosign from, for anyone who doesn't know, like Berklee College of Music is, you know, this like very important institution in music education. It's kind of the cream of the crop, right?
It certainly wants to be that.
Yes.
It is angling to be the greatest training ground in music post-secondary worldwide.
And certainly, even when we were undergrads, there were people who were, doing their first year at Cap, but angling to, get together a Berklee audition and then say, see ya to Canada and go study at Berklee, because it was like the prestige option for music education. And so where like maybe some sort of like a polytech, you might say like, okay, I could see them being cheap and being like, well, we can't afford you, music instructors, but so here's an AI course on how to use Suno. Like, doesn't Victor Wooten teach at Berklee? And like,
yeah, I mean, the highest profile instructors, that's where the prestige is coming from, is it's like, these people are there and these people are going to be my peers, but also these people are going to be my instructors. Yeah, it wants to be the biggest place for that in the world, and it has been considered that in the jazz world for some time. So it's this destination. Doesn't it seem like such a failure to anticipate your audience, though? Like, among all the people who would be attending Berklee today, how many of them would be AI pilled? How many of them would be feeling the AGI, to use a now dated term of the art?
Gotta be damn near close to 0%. And the thing that made me think about right away, I guess, when I watched this or heard about that, is I have heard or read some articles, and usually these articles are written in kind of a disparaging light, or they're reporting on some songwriter who's kind of blowing the whistle, that like in professional songwriting sessions, in like pop songwriting, that oftentimes a producer is working with a songwriter. They are using a tool like Suno to kind of rapidly iterate on ideas. And I've heard, read a couple instances of that where people are saying like, oh, this very high up producer, even working with a major label, they get brought into a songwriting session, and instead of like tracking demos, they're just like spitting out 8 versions of the song with Suno. And so I was like, is this really so prevalent that Berklee is like, oh, we have to get people ready to be able to use this stuff in those songwriting sessions? I think what we'll get into is the answer is probably no. Berklee has other reasons to include this in their curriculum.
Quite possibly, but that is what they will say. I think that's the intent, and like in the corporate speak of Berklee, if they're going to be defending this, which they have had to, and Adam Neely had the opportunity to include some of their responses in his video, they talk about how their intention with it is to try and prepare students for the state of working in the industry today. And they're like, we've always done that, and now we believe this is what you're going to have to do that. And so we're going to do this now. So they defend it that way that you're just talking about. They do.
Right. But also, I think those cases, again, it just looks really out of touch, right? Like Drake got seriously clowned on for like apparent use of AI in his latest terrible album. The Timbaland stuff, I don't know how much you follow, that came across looking very bad for him. This is not stuff that's being used and like celebrated at the cutting edge of music. This is stuff that is like, as it's being discovered, people are being turned into pariahs and made to kind of either back down or like downplay the amount of AI they're using. So yeah, it is just kind of out of touch, no matter if it is actually being used in these professional spaces or not.
So the students are definitely not digging this. There is a petition that I found. We're recording on June 10th, and there's lots of comments and recent signers of this petition as of now. It's likely that by the time we put out this episode, that this petition will meet its goal, which looks like 2,000 people. There's 1,823 signers of this petition. It's called No Generative AI at Berklee, Disband Bots, Beats, and Bytes, the course.
So they're calling just to like shut that whole course down, not modify the contents or whatever.
Yes, this petition description says AI models like ChatGPT that are being promoted by the Berklee songwriting department. Interesting. They cite that instead of just Suno necessarily. So there's that too. There's the LLMs as well. Steal the art of tens of thousands of artists and rot the essence of the industry and have devastating consequences on the environment, all to create facsimiles of real human art. There is no place for generative AI at art school. We call to disband bots, beats, and bytes and any other promotion of generative AI at Berklee.
Yeah, it's wild to even have to say that. So yeah, what I liked is after kind of the initial shock of like, I can't believe Berklee is promoting or even including any of this stuff. Adam points out that like, surely the use of Suno is like violating existing.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like the student code of
conduct, the handbook, right? Like
of plagiarism.
Berklee, again, being this like bastion of, the music industry, music hegemony, like really cared about like things like copyright, right? Like if it's training songwriters, you got to care about copyright. It's got to care about piracy. And so there's this stuff in the student handbook that talks about like, fair use and copyright, and like you can't, using Suno, where Suno has like admitted to stealing copyrighted works and just hopes they'll get away with it, puts Berklee in this very weird position, and the people who are using Suno at Berklee in a very weird position.
Yeah, and Adam found out about that particular point about what was said in the student code of conduct and whatnot because he interviewed students in the making of his video to try and learn about how they were feeling, current or maybe prospective Berklee students, about how they felt. And as we can see, generally they're not feeling good about it whatsoever. There's at least one other person who interviewed students. There's an article in the Boston Globe by Aaron Pressman. Headline: Students at Berklee College of Music pay up to $85,000 to attend. Yep. Some say the school's AI classes are a waste of money. First line says, how would you feel paying $85,000 a year to one of the world's most prestigious arts colleges only to be taught how to eliminate your career? Yeah. That's how some students at Berklee College of Music view the Boston School's growing efforts to educate them about using generative artificial intelligence.
Yes. That is a major problem for Berklee as well, and kind of goes into one of the maybe main points of Adam's argument in the video, which is this point about a music education, and specifically a Berklee music education, being branded as a luxury good, right? Where he makes this thing about, these two brands, Porsche and Coca-Cola, that Suno, their whole thing, in heavy air quotes, of democratizing music, right? Mikey Schulman, the CEO or founder, is like, you shouldn't have to learn to play an instrument, right? Like, it's not fun to make music anymore.
This is the real Daniel Ek, you have to make 3 albums a year moment. I think that quote gets a bad rap. And obviously Daniel Ek has done a lot worse stuff than when I used to defend him.
Sure.
And so I don't really defend him anymore. But I still think that people getting mad at him about that quote was wrong. Yeah. This quote is actually really terrible. And he did actually say it. And he did actually mean it. The whole thing about most people don't enjoy most of the time that they spend making music is legitimately horrendous and misguided and everything that you think it is, unlike the 2020 Daniel Ek thing or whatever. Legitimately, this is the real bugaboo. Yeah.
And he has also defended it after, people have asked him again, are you sure about that? And he's like, yeah, he stands by it. And so the AI art thing, and really the only case these people seem to have is like, well, isn't it better that people who don't have the skill or the means or whatever, that they can do something to express themselves, right? Like someone who can't afford piano lessons can type some words into a computer and get some pretty music out and feel like they've created something. I still think that's a very weak argument, and I think there's good reasons against that. We don't have to argue that, but that does not stand when you're paying $85,000 for the most prestigious music education, which again is sort of like a luxury brand, like Adam calls it, like a Porsche thing. You aren't, going to like the Porsche factory and then being taught how to like drive a little Fisher Price, truck with you to drive with your 2 feet, but, as well as getting to actually buy your Porsche. It just doesn't work for Berklee. It's so counter to the thing people are getting. Not to say that people are just going to Berklee for the prestige, but that's certainly a part of it, right? Like, you're partly going to Berklee because of its good name.
Yeah, I'll make another point about the Berklee student body, I guess, is that like everybody who goes to Berklee has been like the star quarterback of their jazz world from where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And they're all going there, and they're all the stars. And so then they're no longer the biggest fish in the small pond. And so then they get to reap the benefits of that, of being surrounded by all these talented and engaged peers, right? And so to paraphrase like all the students who are interviewed in the Boston Globe article, they're talking about like they're scared that it's going to take over all that they're trying to work on and achieve together as humans, and that it'll inhibit their imagination and creativity, and that it won't allow them to learn from each other and the faculty, like the cream of the crop. It won't allow them to all spend as much time together and engage together as much, because they're already used to having done that before they come to Berklee. Yeah. They're probably already nowadays used to how shitty AI is in the classroom too.
Totally.
But they're used to their jazz time being the time where they're separate from all that stuff.
Yeah, where they get to avoid talking to LLMs or using these generative tools that make them feel so icky. And now all of a sudden there's this like rude imposition. So yeah, I think like Adam gets into some market reasons and some ethical sticky things about why this might even is happening. I don't think he would say might. I think we know why this is happening.
Can I give you the Berklee statement, the defense? We have an actual statement of what I was alluding to earlier before we get to that. This is, as is quoted in the Boston Globe article, how Berklee is defending this. As an artist-first institution at the forefront of contemporary music and performing arts education, Berklee has a responsibility to prepare our students to navigate technologies impacting the creative industries. We will continue to do so in keeping with our guiding principles. That's what one person said.
Yeah.
Another person said, AI, quote, can be used for good and it can be used for bad. He compared AI to the introduction of the drum machine, which may have eliminated some jobs and drummers, quote, but it also became the basis of hip hop.
Wow. I mean, this is, I think, a pretty common set of arguments, right? The like AI is just sampling, right? Like everyone was mad about sampling. And I think it's fair to say that AI is like a fundamentally different thing than what sampling is, right? That like sampling requires a large amount of creativity to take some source material and transform it into another piece of art, typing a prompt into a generative AI tool, it does not require a ton of creativity and is not, transforming it. It would be, it's just a very different thing. And so the AI shills will frequently say like, oh, this is just like another iteration of that. And people have complained about every, technological advancement, drum machines, sampling, recorded music famously, right? We've talked about this with
We've talked about that.
That recorded music was thought to be a problem. And I think this past couple years has shown that generative AI is a fundamentally very different thing. It's not just another tool, and it's got genuine potential to disrupt things beyond what I think any artist should want.
Yeah, it rhymes with a theme that we've used in a lot of our episodes when we come to the conclusions and we're like, well, what does this say about everything? And we're like, well, people are always going to make these arguments, and they have about all these different technologies. And then people say, oh, you can't say this time is different because it generally hasn't been different. But I think it's because we're talking about a different thing.
Yeah.
But then they might say, oh, we're not talking about a different thing. So you're right. It's hard to untangle. But fortunately, Adam Neely has gotten specific about why this might be happening at Berklee.
Yeah.
And it has to do with a couple of people, one of whom is Jim Lucchese, who is now the president of Berklee.
Okay.
Do you remember anything that Adam said about Jim Lucchese?
Was he the one who either had a VC background or is involved with the venture capital situation? Is that
so? He's a lawyer by background, and he founded a company, or he was the CEO of a company called the Echo Nest.
Okay.
I don't actually think he was the founder. Are you familiar with the Echo Nest?
Just from this video. I remember hearing about them. I believe that the Echo Nest was featured briefly in Mood Machine. I think, wasn't there a brief section on Echo Nest?
And the reason why it might have been featured in Liz Pelly's Mood Machine is because the Echo Nest was a music data company. They were an music algorithm company. They developed ways to process music data and personalize discovery, and so Spotify bought them.
Yeah.
And Jim Lucchese then stayed at Spotify.
Okay.
And he became the lead of Spotify for Artists.
Okay.
So I don't think he founded the Echo Nest, but he was the CEO of the company, led it to its acquisition by Spotify, who then incorporated it into the bedrock of its platform, you'd say. Yeah. And so he became like a creator's product guy at Spotify and led Spotify for Artists.
Yeah.
Now, the Echo Nest, it was funded by Matrix Partners, which is a VC firm.
Okay.
And in particular, Adam Neely mentions one particular VC, Antonio Rodriguez at Matrix. And so he was involved in funding the Echo Nest at Matrix.
Okay.
And they would have gotten a good exit when Spotify bought them.
Yep.
And so Antonio Rodriguez at Matrix later invests in Suno.
Okay.
And both times, this guy was on the board. He got a board seat. So he got a board seat at the Echo Nest back in the day.
Yeah.
He also currently is on the board of Suno.
Got it.
And so this VC firm is a link between Suno and Jim Lucchese, who has been installed as the president of Berklee as of 2025. And now this stuff gets rolled out.
How does someone who ever worked at Spotify get to be the president of Berklee? That's crazy.
Yeah, even Suno notwithstanding. Yeah, just the Spotify connection is underexplored.
That's crazy to me that no one is like, maybe not this person. But it also shows, I think, that maybe there's a little bit of like the culture putting Berklee on a pedestal, right? There's like this like assumed purity of the institution where like, okay, well, maybe not. If like there's an institution that's willing to install this, seeming scumbag to, be its president, and then, subsequently be okay with all of this AI stuff happening at Berklee, then like maybe they weren't so special and pure, and maybe they were not really like the Porsche, and it was just kind of a money pit anyway.
Okay, I'm finding some other stuff out about Jim Lucchese. I want to mention that maybe as a musician, it seems like he might have attended a Berklee summer program at some point. He also went to Boston College, so he was a Boston guy in his youth as part of it. But he had another gig in there post Spotify before Berklee. He became the CEO of another company that is near and dear to our hearts in the interim of after the maybe 5 years after the Echo Nest exit. In 2019, Jim Lucchese became the CEO of So Far Sounds.
That's really funny. Wow.
I haven't found when he stayed on until, but there's another feather in your cap, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah, that should also disqualify you. That's so funny. So Far Sounds, for anyone who doesn't remember, is like a quote-unquote secret concerts company, and their business model basically relies on like not really paying the performers or paying them kind of very low fees, but charging very high ticket fees for these secret concerts. It's sort of a pay and exposure business model.
He's quoted in a news article as the CEO of So Far as recently as April of 2024, so he might have held that gig all the way through till his Berklee at the beginning of 2025 appointment. Yeah.
And Berklee said, we need to get the So Far guy.
We need to get the Spotify So Far combination Suno VC backer guy.
Nightmare scenario for Berklee. That's crazy.
So my least charitable interpretation of this is that Berklee has basically been bought by the same forces that are powering Suno.
Yes.
Right? Like that's the furthest you could take this, is that the moneyed interests that are, I mean, they're not, you can't say Berklee has been bought by Suno because there's no direct affiliation between Suno and Berklee. They're only 1 degree removed though.
Yeah.
It's this VC firm who is tight with all of them through one particular individual in totals. But you can say that the moneyed interests that have been elbowing their way into the music industry are aligned with the person who is at the head of Berklee right now, and that it's trickling down into the course material. And you can blame the instructors of those courses to whatever extent.
Sure.
Like maybe they don't deserve all the blame. I'm sure they deserve some of it. I'm sure there's some people who don't want any part of this who are teaching at Berklee. So that's a mixed bag. But at the top of Berklee, it seems they have been fully bought by the same force that leads to what Suno CEO Mikey Philman says.
It makes, I think, very transparent, again, the idea that, through all of this Gen AI stuff, it is relying on all this hype that like this stuff is inevitable. This stuff is already in the workforce. You got to use it. You got to love it. You're going to learn to use it. It's already here, so don't worry about fighting it. But that's proven to be artificial for the most part. I feel through lots of this, through the protests at Berklee, through lots of the fallout of a lot of this, people hating AI slop and AI music, I feel quite vindicated. I think a year ago, roughly, you and I had been talking about, what do we do about AI music? And I was like, just leave it. It's going to go away. Everyone hates this stuff. And each time you find something where you're like, oh, it's at Berklee? Like, has that come up organically? No, it hasn't. It's someone with a financial interest in Suno saying, hey, it's really important for Suno or for this technology in general that it looks legitimate, and so we need Berklee to, as the sort of forefront of music education, and that's where like all the hip new producers are going to be coming up from and working in the music industry. Like we need them to buy that this stuff is already there. So can you please teach this course about it? And the fact that there's this instant blowback is poetic, but like it shows that like, if this stuff had any traction, they wouldn't have to do that. Students would...
It would be bottom up. Students would use it on their own. If it was good, it would come up.
Not even if it was good. Even if it was genuinely popular and being used, people would begrudgingly say, okay, I guess I have to learn how to use this. Which is actually how it works in tech. So like working in a tech coding world, there are people who have some moral, wish they didn't have to use these coding agents and these coding AIs, and companies are being told at least give it a shot and, do this. I'm speaking at a company that's maybe more AI pilled than others, but there are those engineers who are even begrudging are saying, okay, well, as much as I might have a moral kind of objection to this, I do kind of have to use this now to keep up, and that's where the industry is going, and it works for what, it I hate Carsonism now, but it does what it says on the tin.
Does what it says on the tin.
Does what it says on the tin. And so, I have to, maybe I don't like it, but I have to use Claude Code in my day-to-day. And you would see that at these Berklee institutions if what they were saying is well, all the good music that I like, Suno has a hand in it, and as much as I might not like that that's the case, I guess I'm going to have to teach an expert in Suno, or get an expert in Suno to teach me how to use this in songwriting. That's not the case. This is artificially inserted in and immediately rejected by...
Nobody asked for it.
Yeah.
You think people are going to not choose to not go to Berklee? Some of the top students are going to choose to not go there and go somewhere else because they can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
And it just really sullies... Because again, Berklee trades on its name, right? So the moment it's Berklee's the AI school, that degree becomes less valuable.
And you're embarrassing your best alumni, probably. People like Adam Neely who should be rooting for you.
Sure. Yeah, totally. There's all this sort of weight on the institution. So it just is a very bad look, but it's also reassuring that it's just there was never any there with this generative AI and professional music. This was always just the same VC ghouls pulling the strings.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they're going to walk back or when, but yeah, this is not working out the way they drew it up. So, I mean, if they charge ahead and do it, that's going to be amusing, but it's going to be sad.
It will be sad. And it's interesting, Adam kind of later on in the video goes on after that, getting into the financials or whatever, the kind of allegation here that this is basically probably just this VC firm pulling the strings. Goes on to saying that yes, this Suno stuff is bad, but this course doesn't have to be like this. There are useful and non-exploitative, applications of what you might call machine learning. There's even, you're familiar with stem splitting? We might have even talked about this. Stem splitting where you can, take...
Very helpful.
Yeah, you can take a track that contains, drums, bass, vocals, and guitar, and split that into the drums track, the bass track, and, either to solo something out or to remove a part. That is a very similar to... They're trained like a large language model. It's not literally an LLM, but basically they're trained on a corpus of, music and sound, so it can recognize what's the drum part, what's the bass part. And that is not taking anyone's job. It's a useful tool, and that someone might need to know how to use that for their work in a studio one day.
Oh yeah, in terms of what should they be teaching then?
Yeah, absolutely. There's the Suno of it all, or the and it is. I think the first poster kind of kept it vague, but the the poster he showed for the course talks about write a song using Drake's voice or something like that.
They're encouraging that. Yeah,
they're encouraging that, which again is so nasty on the copyright front.
And Adam implies that this may directly descend from Jim Lucchese's attitude as a trained lawyer about copyright law, and that he cuts in a clip of Lucchese talking 15 years ago about how he thinks that traditional copyright law is not equipped to deal with music technology.
Yeah, which I agree with. I think you and I have talked a lot about copyright law. I'm yes, there's problems, and the only positive thing I might say about this era of generative AI is it's probably going to force the conversation sooner than later about these issues of ownership these issues of like how music is like valued, like what's a song, what, you know, how does everything get priced, then this Gen AI conversation probably will like force a reckoning a little bit. But these, you know, AI players are taking that, what you might call like a vulnerability of everyone being like, yeah, copyright's kind of broken, and it'd be difficult and or hairy to kind of penalize Suno, except if like the majors put all their effort towards it, but now they've cut deals with these people, so you know it's unlikely, and they're just capitalizing on the fact that like, yes, copyright's a broken system, but that doesn't mean it's like nothing.
And they're coming for one of the biggest brands in music education before music education fully completes a rally in opposition to them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a funny story. And you really wonder like how they thought it was going to go.
Yeah, I don't want to focus on the person who's the instructor of the course that they're criticizing. That person might be totally culpable and might just buy the Berklee company line on this for all I know, but it doesn't matter. I don't need to know what they think to see like what the issue is here.
Yeah, it's definitely like more, because if Berklee had a functioning or like a moral leadership, you know, they would prevent even if a rogue instructor was like, oh, I want to teach kids how to use Suno, the institution should say, nope, we're a prestigious, you know, arts institution. You can teach kids how to play their instruments or produce music, you know, in a DAW. Yeah, it's so wild. It's so out of touch. I believe there was also something in the poster about the metaverse where...
oh, yeah. In Adam's video, he talks about how Berklee have like other courses where they talk about how they want to teach people about like all these 2020 circa 2021 terms like Web3 and the metaverse. And
I think it's
these
on
things
this.
Are over.
I think it's in this course.
Yeah,
they're talking about like you know, digital concerts, and like the metaverse has literally been shut down, and so it's just this very weird and out of touch thing, and it's going to be very interesting to see like how these companies handle the fact that like everyone hates them. Like I read a stat, I won't be able to pull it up in the moment, that AI is less popular than ice.
Oh man. Yeah, we got it.
We got it
okay. From The Verge, March 9th. National poll shows voters like AI less than ice. The results from a new March 2026 NBC News poll of 1,000 registered voters showed the only two items on their list with lower negative net ratings than AI's 26% positive, 46% negative split were Democrats and Iran.
Wait, Democrats rank lower than AI and ICE? That's really something.
Yes, that's what it says. Yeah. The only two items with lower net negative ratings than AI's 26% positive, 46% negative split were Democrats and Iran.
That's really something. So people really hate this shit, and it's like you are going to have to start like, even if your product is an AI product, either rebranding, pivoting, steering people away from that. Like the thing that encourages me, I think, is people hate this. I don't really think Suno have a way of like actually making money. We're starting to now see like some of these AI companies, or all like non-AI companies even, realize how much AI is costing them now that OpenAI and Anthropic are about to IPO and have to start charging cold hard cash for their tokens.
Yeah, we can't talk about that yet, but maybe next time we will have maybe something will have happened there.
Yeah, and so, you know, companies are starting to realize like this is really expensive. We're maybe not quite seeing the ROI. You know, we talked about like OpenAI shut down Sora, and these like kind of sillier toy applications are just they don't make enough money to be worth it. And so like Suno surely must be scrambling because it's expensive to keep it up. Even if you steal all the music, the training is really expensive. The compute's really expensive. And so, yeah, I can't imagine they're going to make it.
Okay, I got these positive, negative poll splits. Okay. So we had ice with a 38 to 56 positive to negative. So with a minus 18 differential. Okay. We had AI 26, 46 with a negative 20 differential. The Democratic Party is a 30 to 52. So a minus 22. So it's worse. And Iran is at a 861. So minus 53.
Wow.
So it's down. But yes, the Democratic Party polls worse than both AI and ICE.
Is the Iran thing the country of Iran or the war?
Yeah, well, in this, now I realize that it's like the country. Like, what's your opinion about the country of Iran?
Oh, man, that's really something.
Yeah, and there's all the other usual suspects are in there, but yeah. Okay, I'll localize this story one way. I was gonna say like, oh, is this coming to CapU? Are they gonna do an AI course up at Kaplan University? But I mean, I think we know that they're not in any likelihood. But did you hear ever in recent months about the CapU AI poster controversy?
No.
Or can I can explain this to you now? Awesome. Yeah. Okay, good. So, in broad strokes, over this past academic semester, here is what I understand to have happened. Faculty, like you put up internal posters in the building's first floor in Kaplan University's jazz program for upcoming program events.
Yes.
Internal master classes or concerts or people's graduation recitals, as well. It's a big thing in March and April. Usually people make artsy
someone do
posters
an AI
for them themselves.
Poster?
So I don't think this was to do with grad recitals. Okay. I think it was to do with the more mainline internal events. Some instructors in the program started to just churn out slop posters for these events.
Oh.
They were immediately met with universal condemnation.
In the jazz program?
Yes, some instructors. And there are a couple instructors that I can identify who was doing this pretty much, but we don't need to name these people right now. It's not super relevant.
It's what's in the bonus feed.
Yeah. We'll start our Patreon today. Yes, with that. I have screenshots.
Okay.
But so the faculty are churning out slop in the jazz studies program for posters for upcoming concerts. All of a sudden, students complain. Some students deface the posters.
Right.
They write "fuck AI" on the posters. I mean, again, know your audience. Berklee launching this course.
Yeah.
These guys doing this. Yeah. Not a good fit for your audience. They're not going to like this. One faculty member circulates a messenger group chat.
Okay.
Telling everybody that defacing the posters is unacceptable. And we're not, we can't believe that we're outraged that the students are reacting this way. Defacing the posters is disrespectful. Have some respect, people. Cut it out. Let us make our slop, to paraphrase, And so then people start circulating a screenshot of this messenger thing and posting about it and talking about how ridiculous this is. And so then comes to a point where some of the faculty members who have been doing this, they then were like, well, if you're going to, make such a big stink about this, and if you really hate this, then fine, we'll just stop making posters for any events, and you're going to have to make posters for all your events. And they're like, students are like, great, thanks.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And to my understanding, that is now what has happened. So they have cut it out with the slop, and people are making their own posters for everything at CapU, and they have decided to make sure that doesn't happen.
Wow. That is, I mean, that's a happy outcome.
Can you imagine when we were there? If this was a different era.
This was a different era. I cannot actually imagine. The blowback, I feel like, would have been even more vitriolic, although, who knows, maybe with even younger people, they're, even more vehemently against AI, which is good on them. Man, I have one tag on to the Adam Neely, music technology and AI thing, which is just a little mini story that I noticed last week, kind of on Adam's thing of like, basically like this stuff is cancer, don't touch it, the AI stuff, right? Like, and there's like whatever you want to do with more useful applications that are not Suno, that's fine. Like Adam's not a Luddite. I don't know if you saw this, probably not, because this is not software you use, but Ableton Live came out with an interesting development last week that is not AI exactly, but I think is actually closely related. And what they did and I would characterize as a pretty clever move, is Ableton released what's called an SDK, software development kit, for Ableton Live, which enables people to, on a closed application, write code that can kind of interact with the application in like an accepted way. So I haven't looked at the SDK, but this basically gives people the ability to write code that would interact with the Ableton platform, basically write extensions for this software in a way that you would not have been able to before. You would have had to just like hope that Ableton developed the thing you want, the plugin you want or whatever. And so the SDK enables all of this. Where I think they were clever about this is Ableton could have put inside of Ableton an AI co-pilot, something that you chat with and you say, not generate me a song, but like, hey, go into my project and cut out all the silences, cut out all the breaths in the podcast.
I would use that, yeah.
Right, and the copilot, like an AI copilot, could do that. It would work a lot like a coding application, and I think Ableton realized if they ever, not saying they never ever will, but if they announce that in this year of our Lord 2026, people would just like they would lose all their customers. There'd be riots.
People would just be pirating it.
Yeah,
or they'd be pirating something.
It'd be a nightmare. And instead, the SDK that enables you to do is if you are someone who wants to use, say, AI for coding, or to develop a plugin that takes out all the breaths when you're editing a podcast, go for it. You can like ask an AI coding agent, here's the SDK, here's the documentation. I want a plugin that does this. And maybe you could like use the SDK to like write a plugin that does a Suno like thing inside of Ableton, but that would be very tricky. Instead, I think you end up with these little more bespoke pieces of software doing actual useful things. And even if you're saying, okay, well, we shouldn't use AI for that, you don't have to. You can hand code it if you want. But it seems to me Ableton's like kind of in the middle, just going like, hey, look, we understand the software world is different now. We are not going to put AI in our platform. Here is an SDK. You do what you want with the SDK. Well, we aren't going to look. You develop your plugins. You do whatever you want to modify the application, which to me seemed like a clever play because they keep their hands out of it. They're not promoting anything. This does not let people generate music with, generative AI.
And it's also savvy because they didn't open source Ableton.
No,
they didn't go that far.
No, because that have other problems. So yeah, the SDK is like, here's our our blessed way of interacting with the components of this application, which is again maybe getting a little bit too in the weeds, but it gives the building blocks to be able to make a little extension that does something more useful than what Ableton's going to give you, or more niche rather. Ableton's a very powerful program, but maybe you do need something special for your use case or something really unique, and now you have the power to build it.
Yeah, that's a good attitude. That's a winning. That seems like knowing your users, including yourself, and other like-minded people like you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was just like one little kind of music technology add-on thing to the Suno
story.
Good
thing to add on.
A good thing. Again, you don't have to be using this stuff to make songs, to prompt songs.
But nobody enjoys it. Certainly not the kind of people who would enroll at Berklee.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it'll be a happy day when Suno's out of here, but we might be waiting around for that a little bit. Yeah.
So as part of this new semi-annual thing that we're doing, where we get together at your place, summer and winter, instead of new recommendation section, we'll do recommendation review. So we'll go back, and at this point, we can look back at all the things that we recommended in the first half of 2026. We have 7 recs each, 7 or 8 or so, from the episodes that we've put out so far this year. If I'm not mistaken, what we did the last time that we did this is I took a look at everything you recommended, and I pointed out the ones that I checked out or that stuck with me, and you can do the same. So would you? Yes, you would like to start because you're grabbing the computer. So you can go ahead and check out the things that I've left in the Recs section. So far in 2026.
Wow, I actually have checked out a whole. When you were saying that, I was like, did I screw up and not check out any? No, I have. This is
exactly.
Great. This is great.
You got it.
Okay, so do you want me to list out all 7, or
no? You can just pick from them. Yeah.
So, Julian Lodge, Scenes from Above, was, I believe, your first rec of the year. You recommended it before it came out.
Yes,
because
I left that as an Easter egg because we were going to announce Van Jazz 26, produced by Infidels Jazz, and he was the first concert announced, and it was like going to be announced the next week, and I was excited about that, so I'm going to be at that show, so that's why I picked that.
Great record. Very much enjoyed that.
You're going to be around to come see mid-October?
Yeah, should be. Yeah.
At the Chan Center.
Are tickets already on sale? No.
Oh, they might be close to sold.
No. See, I'm so bad. He's sold out every time he's come to town, and I've been like, oh, I should really buy tickets for that. Second, the Marquise Hill, Beautifulism.
Oh yeah.
That's such a good album.
Such a nice calming album. Some great stuff.
I listened to that one on the R5 going to work at like 7:45 on Wednesday mornings when I really don't want to be on there, and just it's a good put on the noise canceling headphones and float downtown. It's great.
Yeah.
And then I guess tied for third as the Tameka Reed Quartet and Smush albums, both of which I haven't listened to a ton, but both of which are great. And I keep seeing Smush stickers.
Yes, me too. On telephone poles and stop signs. And,
Hastings Sunrise has a bunch of them. There's a lot of love for Atlee and Co.
Yeah,
so, it's cool. So those are my 3 of your picks that have stuck with me.
Nice. Well, with yours, I mean, obviously, I can take the Richard Powers novels one because you let me the Echo Maker by Richard Powers, which I read, which is really cool.
Oh, you read it? Oh, nice.
I'll take Charlotte Cornfield because I'm not going to go to her show because it's during the festival.
Yeah.
Coming up here, but you're going to the show, right? Yeah. What's the venue?
The Wise.
Nice. So close, very, very, very close to home.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Can't make them all, but yeah, it's good. That's a good record. And then My New Band Believe is an interesting one for me because it's still not my absolute favorite thing, but Vez and I are going to Japan, and we don't know if we're going to pull the trigger on this or not. I haven't run this by. This is my independent idea. We have the opportunity to, if I believe the dates line up, if we want to see past recommended by Carson artist Carolyn or Caroline and My New Band Believe touring together in Osaka.
What? You gotta go.
I think we gotta go.
That's so cool.
So Vez, if you're listening, that's what we're doing now.
That's a huge double header. Holy smokes.
And they're gonna be in Osaka and we're gonna be in Osaka on the same day.
What are the odds? That's so cool. Man, I'm really jealous. I'm coming.
You're flying out for that one.
I'm flying out for that one. Wow.
Yeah. Also right now, over the past week or two, My New Band Believe has been touring and with support from Wendy Eisenberg, who I'm interviewing at the festival and is one of my favorite artists. So that obviously I would have loved to see that configuration too. But
I didn't realize. Yeah, that's very cool. Man, that's very fun. And I'm glad you glad you read The Echo Maker. Good. Maybe one of the better books about Nebraska.
Yeah, I can't think of another.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just read I finished his novel, The Overstory, like a month ago, which was, I think, the last one of his, or one of the last ones that I hadn't yet read, and it's so good.
Let's scroll the Jazz Festival lineup here. Coastal Jazz is not paying me to do this, even though they pay me to do other things. What date am I starting from? What are we looking for here? The 24th, the 25th? When are you around? I'm probably dropping this episode on June 19th, so all this will be really proximate at the time.
I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back like 2 Mondays from now. So I'll be around for all of Jazz Fest.
Back 2 Mondays from now.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be on like the 22nd. So right into that week. Yeah.
Oh, I have this one on my calendar already.
Oh, who's that? Yeah.
Little someone, Western Red Cedar.
Yeah, it's a daytime thing, though. Is it lunch hour? Is that going to
that's fine.
fly?
I'm allowed to
I wonder if it's going to be like 39 degrees.
It will be very hot, and I don't think it's covered on that patio. That is right at my old office, which I will not be at, but that's fun.
Yeah, we're going to play with Sue in Park. We've never played together before, so
awesome.
That'll be fun.
Wow.
We continue.
Oh, I'm going to see ADHD. Were you familiar with ADHD?
Okay, so tell me, because I'm probably not going to make it to that one. So tell me, and then I can go listen to their records or something. So yeah, now we're talking about like the art gallery stage, the downtown weekend,
it's later,
27th
on the
of
27th. June. I was just browsing this list of Jazz Fest shows, and transparently didn't do much research prior to just like knowing when you were playing before last week. And this is a band I feel like I checked out
from Iceland.
From Iceland, and I believe this KEXP concert that they have linked is when I saw them, and that would have been like, I want to say like 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh, like you watched that video? And
I watched that video. Oh, wow. A friend showed it to me, probably like when I was in my first year or two at Cap, and I was like, this is so cool. It's very like vibe, or certainly their albums like they just are self-titled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or whatever. So I think 5 is where I kind of caught on. 4 and 5 were vibey to the point of almost ambient. So like really down tempo. It was like, I think like organ, saxophone, drums, or keys, I guess. It's like just like a Nord, but like often organ sounds. Really nice stuff. And so when I saw them, I was like, oh, I hadn't thought about them in years. Didn't realize they were still putting out records, but I'm very curious to see them live.
Yeah, because they don't mention what album they're on.
I think it's like 8 or 9.
Oh, their 10th album will be released in October.
Oh, okay, yeah, so 9's the most recent. Yeah, because I went and checked, and I was like, wow, they still got a bunch. So, no, killer players, and worth watching that KEXP if you've never seen it.
All right, I think when I was doing my latest schedule draft, I might have a conflict or something there. But if otherwise, I will take that rec and I'll come out.
Yeah, I'll be there for that for sure.
I'm out to see that one. We are now moving through the first. I mean, of course, I'm excited for the Tyrant Times. That's late night for you. I don't know about that, but like the magic of people congregating late at night at Tyrant Studios was outstanding last year.
I might try to get to one of those because that's pretty cool. Some of these Fabrique ones, Brad Turner Quartet or Bill Kuhn Trio.
Fabrique's cool spot. You know Étrange de l'Aïr? You know these guys?
No.
This is cool. It's like Saharan music.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
This is part of the downtown weekend. Nice. So I'm going to have to do a mad dash actually at that point because I really want to hear a little bit of Étrange de l'Aïr. I also really want to hear my friend Walgren
with Devourers.
They're playing at Ocean Artworks, and Vez is probably going to join me for that. So cool. I got to hit that False Creek Ferry and or Aquabus.
Nice.
To make my way from one thing to the other. Here's actually it's that night. That's a Sunday though. I mean, you probably want to do it on a Friday or Saturday, but
yeah, that could be still fun though.
Yeah, some of our friends went every night though, so it's not like you got to go when Chris Fraser is hosting. It's like he might be there almost every night. So
yeah, Chris Fraser Organ Trio. That was we were chatting about.
We got David Blake's name is going to pop up at some point.
Yes, that's on that's on Canada Day.
Because we're going to get to July 1st when we flip the page.
Have that written down.
Yeah. I'm going to go to this. Kaylee Watts from Bella Coola, BC, Indigenous Country Rock.
Oh, cool. That'd be great. At China Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got this big D'Angelo thing at Performance Works. That should be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I'm the only person in the city where I am like, oh no, I've got a big time conflict. I've got to make it sure I can be at both the Cellar Live 25th anniversary and the Wendy Eisenberg Viewfinder show. I can't miss either of them. I absolutely cannot.
Yeah, that's a Venn diagram with very little overlap. You're the one person overlap with those two fan bases. That's funny.
Yeah. So there's some Cellar stuff going on too throughout the festival, which is cool. There's Dean. He's on the last day.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our leafing through the Jazz Fest time. Yeah.
Amazing. I am very much looking forward to it. I mean, so many of those shows are going to be great. Yeah. Get out for some evenings would be awesome.
Yeah, summer's here, man.
Summer's here. Congrats on our second annual summer live pod. And we'll see you again in 6 months here. No, we'll probably have you over before then. But we'll have you, the guests, the listeners, back to the house in 6 months for a Christmas episode.
Sounds good.